So welcome to our monthly career panel. As you know, this one is focused on the trades, and we have 4 excellent representatives here to talk to you about their careers. And what I would love to see first, come on in and sit down. We got a lot of room on the front row. So if you could raise your hand, I want the panelists to be able to see who's in the room based on grade level. So how many in here are freshmen? Great. Okay. Sophomore. All right. Junior. All right. And seniors. Perfect. Okay, we got a good balance. So I'm really excited that you came today to hear about the trades. We hope that you leave with some nugget of inspiration. I know you will. And I'm really excited to introduce our panel. So I'm going to have the panelists each actually introduce themselves, and we will start here.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Steve Bucker. I'm an electrician. I work for the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 617. We represent electricians and sound and communication workers, and the mechanics out at the San Francisco airport that operate the air train, which is that little people mover that looks like Bart. Yeah, so that's who we represent. Thank you guys for being here. Look forward to answering all your questions.
Everybody, my name is Keith Weiner. Good morning. I'm a recently retired building official for the city of Saratoga, which basically means that I run the building department, so we can build a house. We come out and look at it, make sure that it's done correctly. I've worked in a couple other jurisdictions, and I'm actually going to work here in Afton Bay a little bit part-time, so I don't like listening to you guys around.
Can you all hear?
Yes.
Hello, can you guys hear me? Yes, you can hear me. All right. My name's Beth McGhee. I work for the elevator trade, Local 8 out of San Francisco. I work for Otis Elevator. That's elevators, escalators, people movers, that little dumbwaiter, right? Or, yeah, it's a wheelchair lift. We work on those. Let's see, what else? What else, Greg?
You're a graduate of Half Moon Bay.
I'm a graduate of Half Moon Bay High School. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys. This was a great school. I love going to school here. I went to Hatch, Cunha. What else? Actually, I had no clue what the hell I was going to do when I got out of high school, any of that. For a living, I work on elevators, obviously, but for fun, I play guitar, I like to hike, like the outdoors, blah, 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 but I know I have to make money, so this isn't, dude, this trade has let me get a bank account, a house, a place to live. I live in Honda, and benefits, which is huge. So anyways, I'm not going to hog up the time. What else?
Beth is an overachiever. She jumped ahead to the next question, but we can come back to that too. We're going to have Bart introduce himself really quickly and tell you who he is.
Good morning, my name is Bart Pantoja. I'm the business manager, secretary, treasurer of the San Mateo County Building Trades Council. That's a lot in the title, but ultimately I'm a construction worker. Over 20 years in the field, and my trade was glazing, which is architectural glass and metal. So glass, the glass doors you walked in, the guy like me put that in.
Great. Okay. All right, so panelists, could you tell us how you got into your field and what your educational background is? Who'd like to start?
So I actually, I'm an overachiever, but I wrote it down so I can make sure, keep it brief. So how did you get in your field? So I had family members who made a good living in the union trades, union construction. So it was an option that I knew about. I did not didn't want to go to school anymore. You know, I really, college wasn't something that I was looking forward to. My mother was diagnosed with cancer when I was in middle school, and she fought cancer all through my high school career. So, you know, it was tough to focus on a lot of other things. And since I knew about construction, I figured that, well, ultimately I had to take care of myself. My father passed away when I was a toddler, and construction allowed me to make good money and provide for myself. And ultimately, I knew about it, and that's how I got into it. Well, my education was, I actually got my high school diploma about 2 years after I got out of high school. So, you know, it wasn't for a lack of my ability to you know, it wasn't for a lack of ability to do the schoolwork, but, you know, it was tough, like I said, it was tough to focus. You know, today, you know, construction's, you know, without a doubt, you gotta know how to read, and I mean, Beth, elevator installers, they do a lot of stuff, a lot of technical things. Electricians, you know, a lot of diagrams. They really open up an electrical manual with a bunch of stuff in there. The glazers would do a lot of architectural, a lot of geometry, which I actually didn't think, which I thought in high school was stupid. And it didn't make any sense because it wasn't like algebra. And then I found that I did geometry the rest of my career and actually really liked it because I, constructed large buildings. But that's taking all the best time.
Okay, so how I get
into career, educational background?
Oh, okay. I got into this career, I got lucky really. I've always done like construction and outdoor stuff. I'm not really a desk jockey at all, or into computers, anything like that, but I wasn't working at the time when I ran into a friend who was in this elevator trade. He goes, hey Beth, are you working right now? I go, no. And he goes, do you want to join the elevator trade? And I'm like, what's that? And he told me, you know, elevators, you get into them, you go up and down, right? And I go, well, I don't know. And he goes, well, you'll start off at 20 bucks an hour. I go, sign me up, man. So now we make a beginning apprentice starts off at like 38 bucks an hour, and then for the schooling, okay, so I finally got a job not with the elevator trade, because it is a hard trade to get into. It took me a year of being persistent to get into this trade. So if anybody decides they want to go into some kind of building trade or something like that, you guys have to be persistent. You know, Bart, whoever. I didn't have anybody in my field. You know, I didn't have a brother or a sister or a parent that was an elevator person to get me into the trade. I had to do the footwork myself. So my buddy told me that, hey, if you get your welding certificates, it's an easier way to get into the trade. So I got into the ironworkers trade, which was a little bit easier to get in, which is another awesome trade. You know, all the buildings going up in San Francisco. I helped build Packbell Park as an iron worker. It's totally fun. Hard work though. If you guys like hard work and work with your hands, be outside, it's the thing to do. It's fascinating. So anyways, I met elevator guys on that ballpark field, and I befriended them. And finally, one of the elevator guys goes, hey, we have a job opening at the San Francisco airport installing the escalators. And this was like 99, right? 98, 99. I go, I don't care. You know, I want to get into this trade and make some money, right? By then I was in my early 30s, you know, so I was like the whole 20s, and then after high school, all that crap. I just kicked around and did nothing. I did odd jobs, blah, blah, blah. You know, I made a living. I flipped burgers. I freaking worked at Kitch Joanne's down there. It was fun. So, but anyways, I got into the trade, and honestly, the way I got in, the dude told me, he goes, hey, can you pass a drug test? I go, yep. And he goes, go down and get your drug test. I go down and get it, it's clean, all that. He goes, show up the job shop at 6 o'clock at the airport. I was in. And so what conjuncts with that, when you work 40-hour weeks, overtime if you want, and then you go to school at night. So I'm telling you, it was hard work, right? And I'm not gonna lie, at times it was boring. Wanted to quit. I have quit a few times, but I've always put my card on the shelf, and I've come back to it because it's really given me a great life. I can't complain about it. But nothing, nothing's the perfect job, I guess.
Thank you, Beth. I'm hearing a lot of persistence and hard work.
All right, hey guys, I'll try to speak up better this time. So, I graduated high school. I went to college for a year, and college wasn't for me. And then I joined the military. Spent 4 years in the service as a mechanic on airplanes, which was great. It was really fun. And I got out of the service. I moved to San Francisco. Sold stereos for a year, which was not anything that I would ever want to do. And I started painting houses. And I was painting houses, and a carpenter hired me to do all this painting. He said, if you did drywall, I'd have more work for you. And I did his drywall. And he said, if you could frame, I'd have more work for you. And so I started doing framing. And then I learned foundations. And then I ended up doing plumbing, mechanical, and electrical. So I learned to do all the trades as a home remodeler. And that was great. It was the most fun job ever. And it's really satisfying because at the end of the day, you look and see what you've done, and it's great. 20 years later, I got old. My back went out. I was forced to make some career decisions. And a building inspector that was looking at one of our jobs said, hey, there's an opening, you should come and apply for this job. I didn't want to really work as a building inspector, but it was a good alternative, and the pay was good, and there's tremendous benefits. I went and I got a certification, and I became a building inspector. And then after being a building inspector for a couple of years, I advanced, and I was the permit center coordinator, which means I ran the front permit counter where you would meet with the public. And then I became a supervising building inspector, so I supervised the other building inspectors. And then I became a building official, which is the person that actually runs the whole department. And that's what I did for the last 6 years down in Saratoga. So I've had this progression. I started out with simpler jobs and worked my way up through more complicated jobs. And the one thing that I learned working through in the trades all these years is the more you know, the more you work. So the more versatile you are, the more options you have to work. And like when the framing was done on jobs and the framers got laid off, I continued to work because I could do electrical or I could do plumbing. So the more you know, the more you work. And all that stuff translated into building inspection, because when I started doing building inspection, I had experience with all the different trades that you're looking at. So, like Beth says, you have to put in the work and gain this basis of knowledge to progress in these fields. But once you have that kind of mindset and you move forward, you can do really well. Thanks.
Tell us a little bit about how you got into your field and your educational background.
All right, first, what's up, Sam? That's my guy right there. So I was born and raised in San Francisco. I went to Reardon High School, and after I graduated, I didn't know what I wanted to do after high school. My parents wanted me to go to college. I figured I went to an all-boy parochial school. It was difficult. I wanted to take a year off, and my parents said they weren't having it. So I knew I couldn't live at home and not do what my parents wanted me to do. So, like this young man next to me. I also joined the military. I joined the Air Force, traveled halfway around the world and back, played soccer for the Air Force in Europe, blah, blah, blah. Desert Storm vet. Realized the Air Force wasn't a career for me. So I came back home, and I was going to college in San Mateo, and I was playing football, going to school using the GI Bill. And I was going to school to be a police officer. I figured I'd just get out the military, police departments, and paramilitary groups. It felt like a natural transition. But as I'm doing that, I'm carpooling with a friend of mine named Paul. And Paul was trying to become an electrician, and he was encouraging me to take the test to become an electrician. And I said, Paul, I don't have any experience, I don't know anything about that. And he was telling me you don't need experience. And I was a little intimidated because Paul's dad was a glazer. And Paul was taking computer-aided drafting classes, he was taking blueprint reading classes, and you know, he had a background in construction. So we're doing this for like a year, and every day for a year, Paul kept saying, hey, are you going to take the test to become an electrician? Are you going to take the test to become an electrician? To the point where I got sick of it. Like, hey, dude, check this out. If I take this test, will you leave me alone? And he said, yeah. All right, so I took the test, and I passed. So I became an electrician, basically, you know, dumb luck. Took the test. It's a basic reading comprehension and math test, which is any of these trades, you're gonna have to brush up on your math. Like you was talking about geometry. When I was going to school, the Pythagorean theorem, and I use that thing like every day now. It's like, had no idea what I was gonna do with that. But you use geometry and a lot of math in the trades. So I took the test to become an electrician, I got accepted, started working, going to school 2 nights a week, working Monday through Friday from like 7 to 3:30. And as I became an electrician, I got more and more involved in the community, doing a lot of outreach, going to a lot of city council meetings, which leads me to the job that I have now. I'm a business agent for the electrical union, where I do a lot of outreach. I'm the political director and the community affairs liaison, which just means that I advocate for workers' rights. They send me to Washington, D.C. I go to Sacramento a lot. We have these programs that Bart's a part of, like the Trades Introduction Program. And what I do is make sure that there's funding so that individuals like you who aren't sure what you want to do after high school, that there's opportunities for you to make a living with decent wages and health care, that where you can afford to live in the community that you were born and raised in. You know, like I said, I didn't want to go to college. College isn't for everyone. And by no means am I knocking, university. My daughter went to UC Berkeley. You know, that was her passion, her dream, but it wasn't for me. So I fell into this career, like I said, through the grace of my buddy Paul, who stayed on me for a year. And if any of you individuals are interested in career opportunities in the construction industry, feel free to come talk to any one of us after this is over. Like I said, college isn't for everyone. And I know some electricians, I know some glazers that do pretty well. I know some electricians make more money than doctors. And the benefit that I'm going through an apprenticeship program is once you graduate, you won't have any student loans, you won't have any student debt to pay back, and it's an earn while you learn. So you're gonna start earning money as soon as you start working. And right now, for electricians, with a high school diploma, a C or better in algebra, a valid California driver's license, and the ability to pass a drug test, we start our electricians off at $25.90 an hour plus benefits. After the 5-year program, right now a journeyman electrician makes $74 an hour on the check, plus $20 an hour to their 401k, plus medical and dental for them and their families. So it's a very lucrative field, and if anyone, like I said, it's done very well for me and my family, and if anyone's interested, if we don't cover it today when we're talking to you guys and doing this panel, feel free to reach out. I see these dudes all the time down by the gelato shop, they'll hit me up. But, oh yeah, by the way, I live in Half Moon Bay if you guys hadn't noticed. And, but yeah, it's been very well for me and my family, and if there's anyone that's interested, I know sometimes people are shy and don't want to ask questions in public, but I'll be around, you'll see me in town, you'll see me all over Half Moon Bay, so if it's somebody interested, somebody help me, and that's all I can do is do my due diligence, pay it forward, and help you guys if that's something you're interested in. So once again, thank you guys for being here, and I look forward to talking to you.
Yeah, they are all here to support you, and so are we. So I hope you're hearing that. That's what we're here for. So if you could share a little bit about what a typical day would look like in your field, just a little bit about what you do every day. You said a lot about math, but give us a sense of a typical day.
So you're gonna have to get up early. For years in my career in construction, people go, man, you're really a morning person. I said, no, it's a lot of coffee, and I do it for the money. I'd much rather stay in bed that nice, in the warm covers on a cold day. But after that, it's a lot of fun. I drag myself out of bed, get to the job, and basically get there and you get with your crew and directions given, you figure out your task for the day, and you get to work. You drag the tools out. Some days it's warm, some days it's hot. Again, I like to be outside. I used to take survey tests in middle school and high school about what you want to do when you grow up, and all the results would be military, police, fireman, park ranger, or construction. And I really think I missed the boat with the park ranger thing. I think I'd really like to do that. I don't seem like they do a whole lot. They drive around, pick up some trash, but they get to be outside. But so that's the day. So in my industry, I'll speak to the glazing. Glass is fragile. The work we do is finished work, so you've got to be very careful with material. Everything you see, everything when you walk the building, you see from a finishing craft, kind of like behind the glass. And then also, I'll speak to some of the other trades, because I do represent all the building trades. So you have the floors you walk on, and I'll let Steve talk about the electrical work. But the plumbing, you don't see it, but it's happening, right? It all works. We're talking about elevators, so what else? So heat and frost insulators, that's another one. They cover the pipes with like fiberglass and things to keep the pipes from freezing. My industry, glass is really heavy, right? So you got to stay fit, you got to stay in some decent shape, and use a lot of equipment. But the heat and frost guys, they're carrying around fiberglass little plastic things. It's really light. I think that'd be a great job. It's like you don't have to carry anything heavy. So what else in the day? You look forward to lunchtime, take a break, talk to your coworkers, and then you look forward to the end of the day. And since you start early, you end early. So if I start at 6, the day's over at 2:30, I have the rest of the day to do what I want to do. Talking about things I like to do and hobbies, and I used to live on Great Highway, and I used to surf almost every day after work. I just get there by 3:30, and I would run outside and surf real quick. So what else in a day? So in my industry, you're at times when the big buildings are up high. Some days you might be 20 stories up. Some days you just might be on a 6-foot ladder. Electricians climb out, let's talk about electricity stuff. But we're in the elements a lot as a glazer. So if you're deathly afraid of heights, that might not be the job you want. Now it's okay to be afraid. I was nervous, but it was also exciting. Talk about the surfing. And also my downtime, I ride my motorcycle. So that's just kind of my nature, and I like doing adventurous things. So that's kind of what being a glazer is like.
Beth, tell us about a day.
A day.
What's a typical day like?
Typical day. Well, let's see, I have a service van, and I'm on the service end of the elevator trade. There's construction, there's repair, there's modernization, and there's service. I'm on the service end. I have about 300 elevators or so in the Bay Area that I service. So a typical day, I get up, I get into my van about 6:30, my day starts at 7:30 over the hill in a building, say Kaiser Redwood City, or I don't know, any building that's on my service route. And then I just go make sure that the thing is running okay, talk to the customer, say hello, be seen. Most of my end is customer service. And so I just, make sure the phone works, or the, whatever the elevator needs. So, I have a lunch, when I take a lunch whenever I want. And it's an 8-hour day, basically. So when I'm done with my hours, I just head home and do my thing. What else? Anything else? It's pretty basic.
But you're alone.
I'm alone by myself. Yeah, I have a work phone. It has a work app on it. Actually, there's like 12 different apps that my company wants me to leaf through and stuff, and I don't. Because it's whatever. And so yeah, I go off my route. I answer trouble calls, or if people get trapped in the elevator, I go get them out. And that's always fun. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so a typical day, So when I did building inspection, because I've been in this field for 22 years. When you do building inspection, you go into the office in the morning, you get a list of jobs you need to go out, and then just like if you see any construction around Half Moon Bay, all those jobs, if they have permits, get inspected. And so you would go out and look at the foundation or the electrical, and you're basically making sure that it meets the California code. There's 11 books of California code. You don't have to memorize it because it's in the book. I don't like to memorize it. But as a building official, I don't go out in the field as much anymore. I basically manage the people that go out in the field. So my typical day would be to come in, look at emails, a lot of emails, a lot of questions. I deal with customers, residents, and contractors, architects, engineers, and deal with them on the phone or at the counter, answering questions, trying to solve problems. My job basically is to solve problems, right? When you're building stuff, things don't always go the way that people anticipate. So all of a sudden something's got to be changed. That means the plans have to be changed and they have to be recorded. So I look at emails, I manage staff, I deal with problems, and then also I do plan check. So when you go to build a house, you have a full set of plans that shows architectural plans, which are the pretty ones, elevations that show how the building actually looks, and then structural pages showing how it's built. And so part of my job is to look at those plans and make sure that everything on the plan meets the building code and the zoning code and the municipal code. So it's pretty cool, actually. It's pretty fun. And you do all that stuff now since COVID happened. Prior to COVID, everything was on paper, so you had these massive rolls of paper all over your office. And now 99% of everything is digital. So I have like a massive screen in my office with full sets of plans on it. And then you can do all the corrections and markup right through the computer. So technology has really come into the field as well. So pretty fun, sometimes stressful. You get to make the decisions. Your job, my job, is to make the call all the time. And I'm the ultimate person that makes the call in construction and a municipal level. So a lot of responsibility, but worthwhile and pretty fun. And you get to work with the contractors and the architects who are all creative, really kind of brilliant people at what they do. And you can see that people really take pride in their craft. And that really makes the job great. When you go out and you look at something and you're like, man, this is just fantastic. You know, you feel like you're a part of something that's pretty great. So that's what I do. Just two. I got four.
So a typical day. So I'll tell you what a typical day is like for an entry-level electrician apprentice. Our basic hours are 7 to 3:30 Monday through Friday. As a first-year apprentice, you're gonna get assigned to a journeyman or an apprentice that's been in the program a little longer, maybe a 4th year or 5th year, depending on what the task is. And you're basically gonna get a set of prints, or like you were saying now everything is on tablets. So you'll get a tablet, iPad, or a Surface, and it'll have all the drawings on it for the building. And you'll basically have a task if it's run a bunch of electrical pipes from one end of the building to the other, because you're gonna run lights or power elevators or whatever it may be, AV systems like in here. And you're gonna work with that journey person, that man or that woman, from 7 to 3:30, and whatever you don't finish that day, you're gonna, where you stopped the day before, you're gonna start the next day until that task is completed. It's a very interesting career. Once you get to see how buildings are built, it's amazing. Like the things that are behind this wall that you guys never see, you'll get to see that. And it's like, wow. And you start to formulate ideas on how to do things better and faster. And as you guys are a lot younger than us, so what happens is individuals like us we get stuck in our ways. But as younger individuals come up, you guys see things from a different perspective, and it's really interesting. And it's also nice to learn from younger generations. So if it's something you guys want to get into, like you said, take pride in it. I write my name on stuff when I do it. Like you see these little electrical boxes up there, somebody will open it up, and sometimes it'll look like what they call a rat's nest. You'll open it up, like all these wires will pop out. Or sometimes you'll open it up, and it'll be like artwork. The wires will all be nice and curved, and you can reach your hand in there nice and neat. You'll see sometimes you see little initials of somebody's name, and that's somebody that really took pride in their work. So they write their name and they'll be like, yeah, I did that. So a typical day is 7 to 3:30, and you work outside. You work at a lot of places like Facebook or Google or hospitals. And the good thing about that is you're never in one place all the time. And I like to use the analogy like, say if you're working in a high-rise, you're working in a building, and you don't get along with Sally in the mailroom. Well, the good thing about our job is you don't even have to see Sally in the mailroom. Because you'll be at Half Bay High, and then you'll be at Google, and then you'll be at Kaiser. And so you get to move around a lot. And then the thing that you get to do is as you drive through your community, you get to take pride in it. When you walk by or drive by, you're like, yeah, I built that. So it's a sense of pride. A typical day basically is 7 to 3:30. And like Bart said, you start early, you get off early, and then you have a lot of free time in the afternoon when the sun's still out. So, and you get a lot of vitamin D.
Okay. So we're going to go quickly down the line. One nugget of advice. Who wants to go first?
All right.
Quick nugget.
I would say persistence. Do not be discouraged. Yeah.
I'll try to keep it to one, but also my favorite one is stay teachable. Today I learn every day, even when I'm doing now. I'm learning. Definitely, I make mistakes and I learn from them. And the last thing I will end with is, if you're on time, you're late. So be early. You can ask Corinne what time I was here, but yeah, be early.
You're right.
Never say no to anything. Somebody says, hey, can you do this? Don't say, no, that's not something I can do. You say, if you show me, I can do that. Because honestly, the more you know, the more you work, right? So, and never turn down a project. We ask people to, or I'll ask staff, hey, can you take care of this? Nah, that's not my job description. Well, you're a crummy employee. Say yes. Just do the work. You're getting paid to do the work. Do the work.
Quick nugget, invest in yourself and take pride in everything you do. Is that quick enough?
That's good.
Yeah. Drop one. Do we have time for a question? Okay, so I have one quick announcement, and then we're going to take questions from you. Our next career panel is April 13th. It's law enforcement, EMT, and fire. So come to that. Our job fair is April 28th, and that will be an opportunity to meet all employers in the community that are looking for summer. If you're looking for a summer job, that will be a great opportunity. That's April 28th. Okay, so do we have any questions from the audience? Any questions? No questions. Wow, okay, yeah.
Just a quick question for Stephen. How often do you think you work with people who do sound design, like setting up amplifiers, setting up speakers, getting all those wires kind of plugged in?
Sound design.
So, as an electrician, we have a division called Sound and Communication. They work with VDV, voice, data, and video. So, and we have about, I want to say 600 members, They specialize in voice data and video, so, I mean, every day.
Okay, one question here.
This is a question for Beth. You said you went to Hatch, right? So
Yeah.
did you go through the Spanish program? And if you did that help you in your field?
No, I didn't.
Spanish immersion?
Yeah, no. I didn't go through it, but there was Spanish-speaking kids all over, and just mixed in. And I just been here so long, I just kind of speak it a little. I get by, you know what I mean. So what else did you say? Oh, it absolutely does. Yeah, it helps me in my field, even with not taking that or whatever, because I didn't really need it. I just kind of grew up with Spanish-speaking kids and just, but it absolutely helps to communicate with, any other ethnic person or whatever,
Being bilingual
Being bilingual.
is a
Huge,
asset in every one of
Yeah,
these.
absolutely.
huge asset, for sure. Okay, so do we have time for one more question?
First,
Yes. Yes, one more question.
Are you completely fulfilled with your career? Do you have any regrets?
Are you fulfilled? Do you have any regrets? This is all about enjoying your career.
Oh man, that is a great question. My dream would be a rock and roll star, right? But yes, I am, because this life is life. It's not a fantasy to me, and I have no regrets. I have no regrets. Do I have complaints? Absolutely. Will I complain at the end of the day? Probably. But at the end of the day, I'm absolutely stoked that I have a great career. I'm completely lucky and blessed. Thank you. Great question.
Okay, so I do one more question. Okay.
Wait, Steven, you said that there were levels in the electrician business. Like you said, so there's how high of a level can you get in the electrician business?
So the levels in the electrician field.
So you start off as an apprentice, and it's a 5-year program. After you graduate, you become what they call a journeyman, journeywoman, journey person. And that's just saying that you're an electrician. After that, you could be a foreman, which is usually a person who runs the job, and they'll have a crew of 8 journeymen under them. And after a foreman, there's a general foreman. A general foreman will have a bunch of foremen under them, who have a bunch of journeymen under them. And then after the general foreman, there's what we call a superintendent. The superintendent will have a bunch of general foremen under him, and they run, like, a superintendent will run multiple jobs. So they'll have a job here at Half Bay High, they'll have a job at Ritz-Carlton, and they'll have a job at down the road where they're doing the new residential project in Las Beach. So about superintendent, I mean, to be honest, it's never ending. You go as high as you want, because then you get opportunities to become, vice presidents, presidents of different corporations. So the opportunities are endless. If that answers your question.
Lots of possibility. Okay, so one last thing. We have Johnny Zanetti is here. Thank you so much. If you have any questions about construction, Johnny can come up as well. Then we have 5 resources up here. If you have any questions, come on up. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you in the next career panel.